to Shootin the Shield here on 365 Sports. I'm Jacob Wilson, joined by Tanner Carlson. How you doing?
Dude, I'm so excited, man. This is going to be a great podcast. I'm so ready to do this with you, man.
Me too. We got Emery Winter running the switches back there, my usual post throughout the week. But excited to get in front of the camera with you, Tanner. And really just looking forward to another week in the NFL. What do you see happening this week?
I mean, this week we kind of know like week 7's typically like kind of the letdown week, right? And
Right.
so I'm thinking this week we're going to see kind of teams start to refocus a little bit. We're going to start to kind of see teams really separate themselves. I think the cream is going to start rising. We're kind of midway through that point where we're going to, because up to this point we've really seen it's kind of anyone's game. There's not really, I mean, outside of Buffalo and Kansas City, who is the top tier teams in the NFL right now? Like Philly.
Yeah.
You got Philly,
Weird that Philly's there.
Kansas City, and we've got Buffalo. But do you really consider New York Giants one of the top teams in the NFL, or the New York Jets one of the top teams in the NFL? Like record-wise says yes, but I think we're going to start kind of seeing some separation of who's legit and who's kind of just a fraud in that aspect.
Yeah, and one team that we want to mention is the Dallas Cowboys, of course.
Of course.
We're right here in the heart of Texas. We cover them pretty closely. And they're looking pretty good. They've got Dak back. They had a very convincing win over the Cowboys. A couple of wild plays in that game. It was good to see the offense do well against a poor defense. And then the Cowboys defense, they totally controlled that entire game. And Michael Parsons, man amongst boys, goes without saying.
Yeah. And I want to say something, and I think, I don't know if this is a bold take or not, but this Dallas Cowboys defense is a Super Bowl winning caliber defense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think they are actually statistically, in terms of points allowed, the best Dallas Cowboys defense in the history of the Dallas Cowboys franchise. They've allowed the least amount of touchdowns through 7 weeks of play up until this point of any Dallas defense. That's Doomsday defense. Those are Tom Landry defenses. That's the Jimmy Johnson defenses of the 90s.
Yeah.
There's not been a statistically better defense in Dallas Cowboys history than this one right here. So obviously we can win a Super Bowl with this defense. Is the offense going to get things together? Is Kellen Moore going to figure things out on the sideline? Is Mike McCarthy going to figure things out on the sideline?
There always seems to be some issue. They looked so great. Their offense was the focal point last season, and they somehow blew it in the playoffs against a very inferior 49ers team. And so, if you're a Cowboys fan, you can't get your hopes up too high because for 20 straight years, they have picked you up like Batman and dropped you from higher.
Yeah.
Superman, I should say.
Either way, it doesn't. I mean, Thanos just destroyed with a snap of the finger. All hope is lost, with the Dallas Cowboys, and it seems like every single year there's that one moment, whether it's the Tony Romo drop snap in the playoff game against Seattle, whether it's the Dez Cottick game, whether it's Aaron Rodgers on the sideline on 4th and 15 converting an unreal pass to Jared Cook it's always a moment. And this last year against the 49ers, there's 14 seconds left. You got a chance to score, and your quarterback is scrambling, running down the field and sliding, and you run out of time. I mean, there always seems to be that one moment during the Dallas Cowboys season, especially come playoff time, where it's a controversial call. It's a moment that is a game season changing type moment, and it never seems to go the Cowboys' way.
It's usually something that brings extreme joy to anyone who is not a Cowboys fan. Stephen A. Smith, I'm talking to you. I know you're listening, but this week they're 9.5-point favorites as of now against the Bears, who looked pretty good last night against the Patriots.
How do you feel about that? That's speaking of the Bears, they had a pretty good game against the Patriots. They're coming off a primetime win on Monday night in front of the entire nation watching. I mean, they played big. Those young guys actually seem like they kind of are starting to gel a little bit.
Yeah, Justin Fields, for the first time, even though he's not a rookie, it was the first game I can think of where he did not look like a rookie.
Yeah.
And look, they don't have any big-name receivers. Darnell Mooney was perceived to be the go-to guy. But up until last week and flashes in certain games, you never really knew who was going to be catching passes for this Chicago Bears team. And then last night, it all kind of came together, and their defense played great despite, taking a shot to the nether regions, which we'll get into here. That'll be a lot of fun. Mac Jones trying to prevent Chicago Bears from procreating over here.
That play is great. It's such a good play, and I don't know. So I watch when it's not the Cowboys play. I can't take Eli and Peyton seriously enough whenever the Cowboys are playing. Like I need the actual broadcast. But if it's not Cowboys on Monday Night Football, I'm watching the Manning. How do you feel about the Manning cast? Do you like the Manning cast?
I mean, if you're an American and you don't like the Mannings, who are you?
Right. They do such a great job, and they bring on great guests. They had Bill Burr on last night. Like it is good, like good content. It's just good content, and they break down the Mac Jones play. But we're gonna do a little breakdown ourselves here today.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. Speaking of Bill Burr, I wonder how hard it was for him not to swear on ESPN.
Did you see Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah.
You got to get that guy in the booth as often as possible. Marshawn Lynch dropping the MFer on live TV on ESPN of all things is. Get this man a full-time job in the booth on the sideline doing something. I need him, or the Booger Mobile. Bring the Booger Mobile back, but put Marshawn Lynch in it, and he can just be chilling. You know that Cal video of him riding on just down the field on the training cart. Just have him do that for an entire Monday Night Football game, and your ratings will skyrocket. I promise.
Your ratings might skyrocket, but somewhere high up, someone disagrees with you.
Yeah, well, the FCC does more than likely.
All right. Any other games from last week that caught your eye?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was. I think Tampa Bay, Carolina. I think we'd be remiss if we don't mention what the hell is going on in Tampa Bay. Do we have an answer? We got a team that is on a fire sale, getting rid of their best players. They got a USFL quarterback leading the charge with no Christian McCaffrey. You've got a wide receiver who's on the trading block, and he's their only offensive kind of spark in DJ Moore. And you're thinking, all right, well, maybe he's going to be on a different team within the next couple of weeks, which we're also going to get to, a little teaser as well. And then you've got the defending Super Bowl champs from 2 years ago with Tom Brady, Mike Evans, the same crew, same defense. That game wasn't even close. They don't even put up a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, I know Aaron Rodgers has never been married, but him and Tom Brady are seemingly playing like who wants to play like the most divorced guy in the NFL, because they're both going through something with their teams this year. And I mean, with the Packers, it's a different story. They did not address the Devontae Adams void that they created in the offseason. And look, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins, this is a team that traditionally does not like to make trades, sign big-time free agents, but if they have any chance of getting to the playoffs like they have for decades at this point, they really need to make a move of some kind, because while the Vikings have a good record right now, this division is still very winnable.
Well, and I think the conference is still fairly open. I mean, right now you're looking at Tampa Bay and Atlanta tied for the division lead in the NFC South. At 3 and 4, they're below 500.
Don't get me started on the freaking Falcons, because they don't care about a game script. They don't care how it's going. They just want to run the ball. Sure, it worked against the 49ers, but it did not work against the Bengals. Joe Burrow absolutely thrashed them, and Marcus Mariota threw the ball 13 times.
Yeah. It's some of these teams you can just tell, like I feel like there's some sort of void, or some sort of like, we're gonna tank. Like, I feel as though the Falcons going into the season had no aspirations of winning. You're going into the season with Marcus Mariota as your starting quarterback. You got Cordell Patterson as your best playmaker on offense. You're not utilizing a top 5 pick that you used on a tight end, and he's getting 2 targets, 3 targets a game. That doesn't really sound like a formula for winning, and then somehow they end up, through 7 weeks of the NFL season, they're tied for first place in their division.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Seahawks. I could say the same thing about the Seahawks. You're going into the season, you trade Russell Wilson, you're getting all this draft capital, you got Geno Smith leading the charge, and you're Chris Carlson, your running back, who's been your workhorse for the last, 5-6 years. He's retired due to injury. You're going into the season with a rookie running back in Kenneth Walker, and then all of a sudden you're competing with the Rams. You're competing with teams like San Francisco in your division. Did anybody have that on their bingo card going into the year?
Absolutely not.
Yep.
I can't say I regret it, because I was like everybody else. I thought the Seahawks were going to be terrible. I was actually, for the audience, I just moved back from Hawaii, and I
couldn't tell by your shirt.
It'll change you when you spend enough time there. But before I left, I actually saw Pete Carroll and Holly Ava, North Shore of Hawaii. He was there on vacation, and I had the overwhelming urge to go over and shake his hand, say, "Coach, it's great to meet you. I'm a big fan." That would have been a lie, but I couldn't bring myself to actually go up and talk to him because I just had the feeling that like this guy's team is gonna suck,
Yeah.
and that has clearly not been the case.
Do you think it's due to the coaching?
It has to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Geno Smith was a draft bust and relegated to a lifetime of being a backup, and he has had a revival. It's no secret. And Kenneth Walker, welcome to the NFL, buddy, because you are making Seattle Seahawks fans happy. You are making anybody who has you in fantasy football very happy. And it's been a lot of fun. Frankly.
It has. It is fun watching kind of the Geno Smith from West Virginia is kind of coming out a little bit. Like he's scrambling around out of the pocket, throwing on the run, deep bombs to DK Metcalf. Like it's kind of this energized Seahawks team that is really so. And then you got guys like Tyreek Woolen, a rookie from UTSA, who is just a turnover machine, like a Trayvon Diggs 2.0 on the back end of things. And it's just like, what is happening? Like you're not supposed to be winning with these guys. Like that's not the formula for winning in the NFL, but they're making it work.
Marquise Goodwin.
Yeah. The names go on, and these names are probably not familiar to the casual fan. They probably have no idea who we're talking about, but that's the Seattle Seahawks for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we got some players in the NFL this year who may or may not get traded. One piece of news, James Robinson going to the Jets. Before we get into our players that we will speculate wildly on. What do you think of James Robinson getting traded to New York?
I think it's a good fit. Breece Hall is going to be out for the season, tore his ACL, and that is a big hit to the Jets because that's kind of what they've relied on. And last week, you and I were kind of talking like, hey, I think Zach Wilson could be the guy for the Jets, but last week they're not winning with Zach Wilson, as you mentioned. We had that conversation.
The lost episode of Shootin the Shield. Technical difficulty made it to where we didn't want that to be our first impression.
Right.
Although we had a lot of fun and like I said.
But it was a good rep. It was a good rep to have.
It was a good rep to have.
But your point was that they're not winning with Zach Wilson.
No, they're not.
They're winning with Breece Hall, and they're winning with defense. Well, one of those two pieces just went down. Is James Robinson a capable replacement? That might not work. Who knows? Like it's possible. As long as they keep it. We've seen him go off and have kind of that breakout year in Jacksonville just a couple seasons ago.
I'm calling it now. James Robinson is the future king of New York.
You think so?
I think
so. You think it's going to be a great fit, huh?
Yeah, it has to be. Because the Jets aren't winning with Zach Wilson. He has been averaging, I believe he threw for 115 yards last week, and it's been about that. His passing yards have gone down with each game. Didn't start that high. I believe he was at about 253 in his debut on the season.
I believe he had 2 picks, 0 touchdowns last week as well.
Yeah, now Corey Davis is hurt, and so that was like the only guy that he really consistently threw to. And when I say consistently, I mean 4 targets. But
and Elijah Moore, now he's unhappy. Is he a rookie this year or was he a rookie last year?
He was a rookie last year, and he was fantastic last year.
Right.
And they go and draft Garrett Wilson. They bring in Breece Hall. They have all these exciting young weapons on offense, and for some reason they are not utilizing them with their new baby face. He looks like a Disney Prince quarterback, and so surprise, surprise, one of them is unhappy that he's not getting the ball.
Yeah.
I believe that quiet dogs don't get fed. That's just, receivers in the NFL, they've always kind of been endearing to me in that they're divas and that it's really okay for them to be divas. You want me to go down a list?
Yeah, let's hear it. Ocho Cinco kind of started that whole.
Ocho Cinco, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss. Chris Carter was kind of a pioneer in that way before. He kind of mentored Randy Moss on the wide receiver train.
Yeah, and not so much a diva, but just the passion of it. I would put Michael Irvin as one of the original kind of, and I don't know if diva is the right word for Michael, but he was flamboyant and extravagant and was celebrating. And then right after that number 88, we get another 88 in Dez Bryant. That's another diva for you.
That's another diva for you.
So,
yeah, we could definitely go all the way down the list, Odell Beckham Jr., but How about we get into some of our trade target landing spots?
Let's do it.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get up here on the magical screen here. Emery, how we looking, bud?
Looking great.
All right. Let me pull up our fancy new toy. This is a toy that we don't utilize often enough here at 365 Sports, but I'm excited to throw it out here. And let's start with Cam Akers. Tanner,
Okay.
where do you see him landing?
I really like the potential here for the Buffalo Bills to go ahead, get stronger, add to their repertoire, add to that offense, add another weapon. He brings a physical presence in a environment where you need to be physical in December. They're going to have a blizzard game. They're going to be outside. They're going to be cold. He just has that physicality where it doesn't necessarily match with what the Rams are trying to do. He's had some moments. He also has a little bit of a ball security issue where fumbles have been a problem, and that doesn't bode well in the cold weather. If he gets that figured out, I think he'd be a really good fit in Buffalo.
I think another issue is that his Achilles sucks, and the Rams are just trying to get whatever they can for him. But for him, it's not a bad call to go to Buffalo. But I'm going to say Baltimore because they can't stay healthy in their backfield. Gus Edwards was back last week. He looks great. But Kenyon Drake, he is well past his prime. J.K. Dobbins cannot stop snapping ligaments. He can't stay healthy. A lot of excitement around J.K., but they are going through running backs. Last year was an ever-changing door.
It was.
And Cam Akers is a guy that Baltimore can get for cheap. Kareem Hunt below him, I don't think the Browns are going to want to deal him to a division opponent. And so I think if Baltimore goes out and makes any moves, I believe it will be for Cam Akers.
I really like that fit, though. You're not completely off base with that. Now, I think if we're going to go down to Kareem Hunt, I really like the potential with the Miami Dolphins. And I think he could become the starter for the Miami Dolphins. I think with what the new head coach coming from the offensive coordinator from San Francisco a season ago, he really likes using that running game, and he leans on the running game. He's a Kyle Shanahan protege, right? And he wants to not only use the running back as, a running back, but he also puts him out in the slot. He moves him around. There's a lot of motion there. And Kareem Hunt, one of the better receiving backs in the NFL.
The Dolphins are running back away from being a very, very good offense. I'm going to go with who you thought.
Okay.
Let's see here. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. There have been reports that they are talking about. Let me go ahead and screw it. There have been reports that the Bills are interested in Kareem Hunt.
Is that what we wanted to do? Get it from behind there?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Technology, you got to love it. But there have been reports that the Bills are interested in Kareem Hunt, like the Dolphins, another team in the AFC East. I think they're a running back away because not only is Kareem Hunt a good runner, but he is a good pass catcher. And the Bills have running backs who have one of his skill sets. Devin Singletary, good pass catcher. James Cook and Zach Moss, they've kind of been tossed to the side, but they're fortes were goal line guys and guys who run through the tackles. But Kareem Hunt is a guy who can do it all. I considered throwing Kansas City, maybe a reunion.
Yeah,
but
there's a history there.
And frankly, I thought it'd be fun for drama because let's inject a little bit of the NBA style Real Housewives drama by doing a reunion with the Kansas City Chiefs, but I think that would probably actually not go over all that well. What do you think for Chase Claypool? There have been talks that they're not going to give him up for cheap.
Right.
I don't think he's worth that much.
He's probably not worth a lot, but he's probably worth a little bit more than some of these other guys.
And you'll notice I've got the Steelers logo up there, so if you think he's going to stay put, don't be afraid.
Yeah. No, I actually really like him at Baltimore, but I don't think they trade him to an in-division team. So I don't think that Baltimore is going to be an option there. He would also pair very well with Amari Cooper in Cleveland. Don't think they're going to stay in the division. So again, that takes out two teams where I think he would be a great fit. I think the New York Jets makes a lot of sense for Chase Claypool. Again, they're kind of needing they're still young. They're still trying to develop. They're still trying to get those sorts of guys, and Elijah Moore's unhappy. We don't know really what's going to go on with him. I think Chase Claypool could use a little change of scenery. Again, I don't know if it makes a difference with Zach Wilson or not, but Corey Davis goes down. They could maybe replenish some of the talent that they've lost due to injury.
I mean, it's an interesting call. If I'm a wide receiver, I don't know if I want to play for the Jets right now.
He may not have an option in that. I mean, now I don't know if he has a say in where he goes in his trade, but if he does, I think the Jets have enough draft capital to make that trade a possibility if they're going to be asking for a lot.
I mean, I like the take, but if that actually happens, Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims, I don't know if you remember him. He was second round
Baylor guy.
Baylor.
Yep.
They're treating Elijah Moore the exact same way that they're treating him. The guy who's not involved, the guy who's unhappy, who's been vocal about wanting to contribute, but they pretty much said, no, we're just going to not play you and not trade you, which I don't understand not doing one of those two things, because if you don't play him, you don't increase trade value.
Yeah, and you could still get something out of them while they're young, while they've still got gas, while they still have plenty of miles left in the tank. You could still get something for them, but it doesn't seem like the Jets are going to go that way.
All right. For Chase Claypool, I'm going to guess the Tennessee Titans, because they are without Treylon Burks, the guy who they brought in to replace A.J. Brown. Look, I in all honesty, I don't think that he's going to get traded, because there are reports that they were demanding McCaffrey-like terms.
That's not going to happen.
In terms of number of draft picks that they want for him, which of course is not going to happen.
Right.
But the Tennessee Titans are a team whose number one receiver is Robert Woods. He's washed. He's done. And he has.
You can ask my fantasy team about that.
He hasn't had more. You know how many times he has surpassed 39 receiving yards in a game this year? One time.
Wow.
One time.
That's a very specific number, so I figured it would be one.
Yeah, Paul tried to throw him out there for fantasy starts one week, and I just said, no, you're dumb for suggesting that one. But I think the big name that has really cooled off, especially after the win last week, is DJ Moore.
Yeah. And there's not a Dallas Cowboy logo on here, and as good as he would look in a Dallas Cowboy uniform,
I've got logos.
He's got stars. I think he's got a star potential. Cowboys aren't going to make the move, though, so I wouldn't pick them anyway, because I know Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones are very stingy right now with what they're doing. Now, they did make a trade today, which I think we could touch on a little bit more, but in terms of potential, best fit, even if the Cowboys were on this board, I would still be putting this logo right next to DJ Moore. That just makes sense.
Absolutely.
There's nothing about that trade scenario that doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. And I completely considered, this could go up here too. Like
It could, but I think DJ Moore's a more well-rounded. He's not where I see Chase Claypool is the jump up 50-50 ball down the field, deep ball threat. Do the Packers need that? Desperately, yes. But
they need a guy who can catch the ball.
But DJ Moore is if you're going to target him 12 times, he's going to bring it in 10 times. And that's on screen passes, that's on slant routes, that's on drag routes, that's deep down the field, that's on curl routes. Aaron Rodgers needs a guy that is versatile in his route tree, and that's going to get open for him. And I think DJ Moore would be a perfect fit with what Green Bay wants to do.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would. And with that being said, it's fun to speculate on who goes where. I love the Green Bay pick, but if there's another team out there that so badly needs a wide receiver, it's the New York Giants.
There it is.
Because they have a guy in Kadarius Toney who I think they should be playing. I don't know how healthy he is. I assume that he is not all the way healthy, because he is supremely talented, but they don't ever let him get on the field. I think he's locking like 10% of snaps right now. That being said, Daniel Jones, he's running for his life a lot of the time out there because he's got nobody to throw to. Kenny Golladay, I think he's pretty much washed. That was a bad investment on the Giants' part. They've got Sterling Shepard, another guy whose Achilles suck at staying intact. And look, am I thrilled about the Giants making a big move?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because I think their 6-1 is a little bit very, very fraudulent. I'll say that. They've played some weak opponents, and they've played them rather closely. I think once their schedule ramps up a little bit, when they face Philadelphia, they face Dallas again. Yeah. I think they're going to have some hickeys on their schedule at the end of the season that I don't know if it'll keep them out of the playoffs, but they're going to be playing as a wild card spot.
They're going to have to royally tank pretty hard to not make the playoffs. Now, can it be done? If anybody can do it, it's probably the New York Football Giants. So let's be honest with each other. So moving down to Elijah Moore, he has been That's a really weird.
Yeah, we've talked about him quite a bit already.
Right. And so I don't think he gets traded. I think he stays in New York. I don't think the Jets are going to get rid of him. However, in this fantasy land that we're living in here on this TV screen, I think it would be a beautiful destination to just go right across the hall.
He probably wouldn't even have to move.
No, go from one side of the hallway to the other side of the hallway. Go to the Giants locker room and just change your color scheme up a little bit. And I think he'd be a much happier camper with Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones throwing to him than what the situation has brought to him at the other New York team.
Yeah, it's so weird. Both New York teams are winning this year, but one of them seems to be functional and the other one does not. And
yeah.
Who knows? I like you. Like so much of this Elijah Moore trade talk has cooled. I don't know if Robert Saleh will kind of reel it in and get it under control. I don't think that he moves anywhere. I think he stands pat. But I'm looking on the board at all of these teams. Green Bay would be a good fit. I'm sure he would love to catch passes from Aaron Rodgers. But at the teams we have left lingering out over here, Elijah Moore's still on his rookie contract. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't be that big of a financial investment.
He still has multiple years left on his rookie contract,
multiple years
including
left.
The fifth-year option for a first-rounder.
I mean, Travis Kelce just restructured his contract.
Okay.
And him and his brother on the podcast said that the Chiefs are supposed to be making moves. They could have been blowing smoke up our ass. I don't know. But
I like it. Do it. Yes,
look,
sir. Yes, sir.
Listen, Chiefs and Chiefs fans, this would be very exciting. They've got a revolving this isn't necessarily something that the Chiefs need badly, but they've got a revolving door of guys whose best days are behind them or guys who are young and either haven't developed or haven't proven themselves yet. You've got a guy who, albeit brief last year, it was a stretch of about 6 games. He was electric. If you had him in fantasy football, he probably won you your league. And so I think adding another weapon in Kansas City, it would probably be the demise of McCole Hardman. It could be the demise of MVS. It could be the demise of Juju Smith-Schuster, yep. Both of whom had good games last week, but that's because everybody on the Chiefs had a good game last week. But they made a move with Travis Kelce. I don't believe, and I could be totally whiffing on Elijah Moore, but I don't think that they restructure Travis Kelce's contract and then do absolutely nothing.
It makes a lot of sense. It really does. Now, it could be Chase Claypool. It could be DJ Moore that they go for. You're just saying Elijah Moore is a good fit. And I tend to agree with you. I don't think, in terms of realistic expectations, I think Kareem Hunt, very much a very realistic expectation that he is not going to be on the Cleveland Browns by the end of this season.
Yeah.
I also think DJ Moore, very, very likely that he is not going to be a Carolina Panther by the time this season is over.
While trade talks have cooled, I still look at that team and I'm like, yeah, they got the win against Tampa Bay, but golly, it's just rough. They're playing. Yeah. I don't necessarily know if they're playing for the number 1 spot in the draft. I don't know what it is. They played gritty last week, but I think the best thing for the long-term future of the Carolina Panthers would be to get what they can for DJ Moore, because with the draft capital that they're already going to be positioned in with their record, they might as well add more picks to go on top of it.
And then I don't think Elijah Moore leaves I don't think the Jets move on from Moore. I think Moore wants out of New York, but I think the Jets hold on to him. So I think Moore, Claypool, Akers is kind of the toss-up just because he's hurt. But I think the Rams, like you said, I think they're just willing to take anything at this point.
Yeah, and God, it's a bummer. Elijah Moore, you deserve better, buddy. All right, let's go to some picks here. In Carolina at Atlanta here. Over-under right now as it stands 42.5. The Falcons are 4.5-point favorites. While it's a home game for them, they did quite well at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Carolina, they just put a walloping on a team that was far superior than them. I don't think that Carolina wins this game. They could force Marcus Mariota to throw the ball, which the Falcons do not want to do. They were down the entire time against Cincinnati, and they just kept on running, didn't do anything. Arthur Smith, get your head out of your ass. Throw the ball. Remember that you've got Drake London and Kyle Pitts, 2 guys who you drafted in the first round. And look, if you buy a fancy toy, why don't you play with it, man?
I got you. Yep.
But 4.5 points, that's a bigger spread than I would give Atlanta. And so I like Carolina to cover. I don't necessarily know that I would take that money line, though.
Yeah, I actually talking about games that I think that are kind of automatic. I really like what Tennessee at 2.5 point favorites over the Texans. I think Derrick Henry can take care of that himself. So if you are a betting man, I think you take Tennessee, you take the spread. I think they win by more than a field goal. I think you're pretty safe there. In terms of the over-under at 41, that solely depends on how the Texans are going to operate on offense. Now, they do have the firepower, and the Titans themselves have been a little sketchy, but they're also kind of on a hot streak. So I would actually take the over on the 41 points, and I would trust the Tennessee Titans to cover that 2.5 point spread.
Yeah, the Titans, you can tell that they're well coached because Ryan Tannehill has not looked great, but they stand at 4-2.
And they've won 4 straight?
I believe so.
Yeah, so they're on a roll, and they're riding. They're kind of going back to their old ways with we're going to rely on Derrick Henry, going to give it to him 20-plus times a game, and let Ryan Tannehill just not screw the game up.
Yeah. Two games, I'll only hit on one, but I want to mention that, where was it? Yes, the Giants and Seahawks right there. I want to mention it because Giants, 3-point underdogs. I mean, I would be taking the Giants in this game personally.
Yeah.
But the game I actually want to put that money on, Niners-Rams. Niners only 1.5 favorite. Look, I think that this offense will have a bounce-back performance after they didn't do that badly against the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense just outran them, outdid them on the track meet. And I think that with an entire week of Christian McCaffrey learning this offense, which Christian McCaffrey got traded.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to mess up.
Here.
Hey, yeah, I want to look at the Buffalo game.
Let me help you out here.
There we go. There we go. All right.
All right, you can draw on it now
Yeah,
if you want.
appreciate it. Thank you. So, Green Bay, Buffalo. The Green Bay Packers are 10.5-point dogs. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to lose by 10.5 points? Now, he has. I just think that things are going to start. I just don't see a version of this Green Bay team with Aaron Rodgers at the helm just completely just falling apart and not putting up a fight. And I just don't see it. Now, it could happen. It looks, like things are going completely downhill. They're 3-4. All right. Let's not pretend like they haven't won a game this season. They're 10.5-point dogs against the Buffalo Bills. I think they actually cover that 10.5. Now, I think Buffalo wins this game, but I do think that a 10.5-point spread is a huge spread in the NFL. And I think if you have Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback, I think you can cover that 10.5 points. Over under at 47.5.
I was just going to ask you about that.
That's actually a pretty interesting number. I think that's a number I probably would stay away from. If you are a strictly over-under bettor, I'd take the under on the 47.5.
Interesting, because
now, not that the Green Bay's defense has been doing anything special. I just think that this is going to be kind of a sloppy game, actually. I don't think it's going to be a very well-played game, which I think it benefits the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, the only reason I shied away from that game was because the Packers are 2-5 against the spread this season.
Yep.
And two-time reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers. I tripping too much on ayahuasca, I guess, but
that's exactly what the problem is.
All right, we're having fun. Any other games before we get into some plays?
Well, let's talk about the Cowboy game real quick before we completely, we are a centrally located as a Dallas Cowboy fan base, and you and I both Cowboy fans, I believe. So
yeah,
there we are right there against the Chicago Bears.
So everyone ought to hate us, right?
Yeah, and that's fine. I have no comeback for anybody that's like, hey, the Cowboys suck. I'm like, yeah, you're right, they suck. Like I have nothing. I have nothing to give anymore.
We're America's team.
Yeah.
Just deal with it.
And so 5-2 against the spread are the Dallas Cowboys. They are 9.5-point favorites. Again, that is a heavy spread and an offense that has been struggling, an offense that's not necessarily playing consistent. I like the Chicago Bears to cover 9.5 points. I think the Dallas defense is definitely what is winning the games. I don't think that's any argument. And so I will take the Chicago Bears covering the spread. I'll take the Dallas Cowboys outright. 44 points, I'll take the over. And I don't know why, because the Chicago Bears offense has been atrocious. The Dallas Cowboy defense has been fantastic, and it's also been vice versa. But I'll take the over. I think it's going to be a weird game. I just have a weird feeling that this is going to be a weird, uncomfortable game for the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Chicago Bears are going to play them close, but I do think at some point in time, Dallas kind of makes it a comfortable lead towards the end of the ball game.
Yeah, this is probably a good last game because I'm going to disagree with you. I think the Cowboys defense is going. Look, Justin Fields played a Patriots defense last week that we thought was pretty good. But I think that the Cowboys defense is so much better.
I agree.
As long as they can contain Justin Fields, they don't even have to really dominate him and sack him consistently.
Just need to make him uncomfortable.
They just need to keep him inside the pocket, force Justin Fields to use his arm and not his legs, and he will crumble. I think that Chicago, they're lucky to get more than 10 points in this game. I think Dallas covers. I'm probably betting the under because they don't need to score that many points to beat this team.
You're right.
But I like the Cowboys to cover the spread.
All right.
Well,
I think that does it for our sports bets of the week.
Yes, it does. All right, how we doing with this play right here?
All right, so this is one of the more entertaining plays of the entire NFL Week 7, and this is not just because I was a Dallas Cowboy fan. In fact, this is a play against the Dallas Cowboys that doesn't go the Dallas Cowboys' way, but it is one of the cooler things that we are going to see. So let's go ahead and roll the tape, if you will. This is obviously 1st and 10. They're in scoring position. Look at the time here once we get this situated. Time right here. It's under 2 minutes. 2-minute drill. Dak is going down. Stop it. Look at that.
180.
It's just a perfect. All right, okay, just play it through. Let's see how this finishes off. It obviously ends in a fumble, and that is Noah Brown giving it up. But what I liked the most was the amount of times they showed the replay on it over and over and over. But as soon as you thought he was head over heels, or he was like completely vertical, I thought he was landing on his neck. I didn't think he was going to make the full flip.
Yeah, he's lucky he did the full flip because, if he had landed just maybe a split second sooner, it would have been a pretty gnarly neck injury.
And can we go back to it? Is that possible without it being like too insanely like difficult to do?
No.
Okay, great, perfect. All right, so let's run it again. It's a good play. Great throw by Dak, by the way. Steps up, clean pocket. Got 2 defenders right here. He's got a defender here, defender there.
Here.
What are we doing?
I am.
You gonna make those smaller?
Yes, I am. I'm going to change your pen.
Oh, perfect.
And make it an easier color for you to see.
All right, great. Yeah, take that big guy off. Okay. All right, defender right here, defender right there. Ball's going through. All right. Great throw, great window, nothing wrong with it. Play it through.
Had to stop it right there.
That's so good. The ball's coming out. I mean, this is an obvious fumble, right? Like, the ball's coming out. Like, there's no arguing it. But right here, I think this guy's landing on his head. And if you kind of watch it, and if you were watching the broadcast, they do a much better job of – it was almost in slow motion the first half of it, and I was like, there's no way he's going to complete this flip. And then if you play it through, it's like – 34 right here is the one that kind of nudges him forward, and I think 34 almost saves Noah Brown's life. Like he gets top heavy right there,
and then you got just a little bit of space.
A little bit of space,
that saves him.
But 34, I think, kind of saves him from being paralyzed because he hits his body and it propels him forward to where he completes the full flip.
All right, let's go to the next play. We've got the play that effectively will end Matt Ryan's tenure as the starting quarterback. Oh, he's intercepted right there by the Tennessee Titans all the way home for a touchdown. And the reason I bring this one up is because, look, the Colts, they've had a really tough go of it with quarterbacks the last couple of years. And your boy Sam Ehlinger, Texas Longhorn,
yes,
been named the starter.
Oh, here we go. This is one of the best plays of the entire weekend.
And, we're going to get to see it from a couple of different angles here. And I don't know what Mac Jones' sliding style is all about. He clearly wasn't a baseball player. I could be wrong.
Do they need to bring Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson in to teach him how to slide? They have baseball experience. Could have been drafted. But let's diagnose this slide.
Speaking of balls, all right?
So speaking of
Oh!
Yeah. All right, so that didn't look too bad from that angle, right?
No, it didn't.
It didn't look that bad.
I've got other angles.
We've got other angles, though, and we're going to watch those other angles. But let's take it back. Look how far. Look how when he starts. Look at when he starts his slide. And if you don't think that he's starting right here, he's at the 40-yard line. Homeboy over here, he's at the what is that? What is that? The 48 or the he's at like the 32 over here. So at least an 8-yard difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't think that you can like figure that out in 8 seconds and be like, this is not a predetermined thing, this is just an accident, then you're totally wrong. These are world-class athletes. They know exactly what they're doing. So he's starting his slide right here. He knows homeboy's coming over here, and he's going to connect.
And he knows it's quarterback. He knows he's probably going to have to pull out.
And he's going to have to pull out, right?
All right.
So
I'll play it through.
Doesn't look that bad. Doesn't look that bad.
We got other angles, Tanner.
All right, here we go. Boom.
Oh.
I mean, just a perfect shot. I mean, cleats up, spikes up. That's illegal in baseball. Should be illegal in football. But he didn't even Kenny Pickett it. Like Kenny Pickett had the fake slide.
Mm-hmm.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
He actually went and harmed another player. And no flag. No flag.
No flag.
No wonder why defenders hate quarterbacks. All right. We got one more. Oh.
And here's the thing. Oh, this is the best angle. Look at his eyes. Dude, he's directing. I mean, this dude more ball hungry. I had a saying, I don't even know if I can go there, but this guy is just straight up checking it out. But you're right. If a defender can't hit a quarterback when he's like this, then what makes a quarterback able to hit a defender like that whenever he's sliding? Because if 9 goes down here and he goes head to head, that's a 15-yarder. It's an automatic first down. They're in even closer to scoring range.
And he would get his revenge getting that interception just a few minutes later in the game, benching Mac Jones for the night. But when I saw this play, the first thing I thought of was the peanut special. You took a line drive to the nuts, Charlie Brown.
You got to protect the McNuggets, man. That's what I think of the longest yard. I think of Terry Crews. Got to protect the McNuggets.
All right, moving on. Having a little bit more fun before
Speaking of, there was a little flick to it. Did you see that at the very end? There was a little flick to it where you got a little more of Nine's package here, way more than what you ever wanted to see. Whatever happened to the cup? Do we not wear cups anymore? Is that not a thing? Is that impede on the running process, on the sprinting?
Yeah,
it gets in the way.
It'll slow you down.
I think Peanut Tillman would be happy with this play. That seems like the peanut punch for me. The peanut kick.
I mean, look how much air he's got.
He's high up in the air. Look, there's at least 2 to 3 feet of foot to nut contact.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. All right. One more clip before we close it all out.
I'll let
we
you
had
break
some
this one
fun.
down.
Oh, we've got Jamal Williams going after the referee with the football as he's making a call on the field. It looks so silly. Why would he do that? Let's watch it again.
And he's pleading his case over here to the other guy. I like that. Boom.
Oh, man. My pausing skills are not fantastic.
It's okay.
But to his credit, referee, he was a good sport about it.
He had his little smile. Look, if you go just quick play.
There's definitely a slower version of this that I'm about to play for you.
Okay.
But to his credit, he made the call. He had a smile on his face, but he didn't stop. But in the Marine Corps, we call that braking on bearing. And so minus points for that.
And here's what my problem is. The other officials seem to have a bigger problem than the white hat.
No, he's just getting his white hats back. It doesn't.
Was it kind of like I'm defending you, kind of I'm defending your honor sort of a thing? Because he seemed to have more of an issue with Jamal Williams than this guy did.
Yeah, some people are just better sports than others.
Yeah.
But we've got it. Oh, holding. And. But
he'll finish the call. Look, he's got gonna have a little grin. There it is. Yeah. Now those were some of our favorite plays of the week. It's always a good time whenever you can, poke a little fun at when the referees get involved. Anytime they get hit, it's going to be on this board.
Yeah, we're having fun. Next week, I'll get us some beers. Didn't have any for us this week because we don't have anyone sponsoring us yet. But
Those are open, by the way.
Emery's thirsty back there. He wants to get home. I'm Jacob Wilson. Tanner Carlson, it's been a lot of fun. This has been Shootin' the Shield on 365 Sports. Please like and subscribe. We've got big things coming to our NFL and Cowboys channels very, very soon.
Jake's going to work on his pausing skills.
Yes. Like I said, this is a new toy. We're having fun with it, and I'm learning it. But
no, it was great, man.
We'll see you next week, Tanner.
Hey, man, I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
We'll be here.
For Jacob Wilson, this has been Shootin' the Shield on 365 Sports, or the NFL on 365 Sports.